Kenyans. Important questions have also been raised concerning the direction of development in relation to democracy, human rights, and fundamental freedoms, as well as the rule of law, transparency, and accountability. Another more direct question that emerges every now and then is whether public policy in this administration is in furtherance of service delivery to citizens or just in aid of political strategy. It is undeniable that for many Kenyans, times are hard and the struggle to meet their daily basic needs remains daunting. It is also true that these conditions have persisted for a number of years now, leading to much frustration and anxiety. Although we have gone a long way to mitigate some of these difficulties, much remains to be done, though we have laid a firm foundation for decisive intervention. I believe that it is critical for us to bear in mind that this administration was inaugurated at an extremely difficult time, characterized by domestic challenges, compounded by regional and global security, geopolitical, financial, as well as climate dynamics. As a result, in 2022, the country's total debt burden was not only immense, but it was also stacked up in the most burdensome manner, leaving very little room for investments in public service or development of critical infrastructure. The prices of basic food commodities soared as a result of a combination of prolonged drought, declining local productivity due to inadequate support, and disruptions in the global supply chain caused by the war in Europe. Kenya faced a crossroads of extremely difficult choices, where defaulting on our obligations would have significantly worsened an already perilous situation, and more borrowing was not an option. It was therefore essential for us to drastically reduce expenditure, mobilize as much as possible resources domestically, and curtail waste. As I informed the nation then, matters were going to get more difficult before they could get better. And we all had to tighten our belts and work hard under very unforgiving conditions. We had staked the fate of our ambitious bottom-up economic transformation agenda on easing the stress that the economy was in and the strain citizens underwent, while creating room for the implementation of our transformative interventions. Members, I give this background to underscore two very important facts. First, we haven't been watching helplessly and doing nothing as adversity took a toll on the economy and undermined the livelihoods and well-being of the people. On the contrary, we have been working tirelessly to steer the country away from the brink of unprecedented economic collapse and onto a more promising trajectory. The second point is that while we may not be where we would like to be, we are certainly not where we were 2.25 years ago. At the same time, the cost of living was substantially high, with prices of basic commodities beyond the reach of many households. Today, I'm proud to report that the macroeconomic indicators point to a positive turnaround and an upward trajectory. Allow me to highlight a few milestones that underscore this progress. The shilling has stabilized significantly, appreciating from Kenya shillings 162 to the dollar in February 2024 to Kenya shillings 129 today, a remarkable gain of 20%. This recovery has restored confidence in our financial markets and significantly reduced the cost of servicing external debt, creating fiscal space for our development imperatives. Inflation has declined dramatically from 9.6% in September 2022 to 2.7% in October this year, the lowest rate in 17 years. This achievement has been the consequence of favorable weather and our deliberate efforts to support farmers with affordable inputs, including subsidized fertilizer, leading not only to increased production, but also productivity, and lowering the prices of many cereals, including maize, pulses, such as beans and peas. Our foreign exchange reserves have surged by US dollars 2.4 billion to hit a new record of US dollars 9.5 billion, providing a 4.8 month of import cover, the highest in 10 years. This resilience shields us from external shocks in the global economy and restores investor confidence. Ladies and gentlemen, interest rates are also trending downwards, reducing borrowing costs and freeing up fiscal space for growth-enhancing initiatives by business. Tax revenues have grown by 11.5% in the year to June 2024, reflecting the success of our tax-based expansion measures. The economy continues to grow steadily, recording a 5.6% growth rate in 2023, among the highest globally. We project 5% growth this year and 5.6% growth next year. Honorable members, our efforts to secure food security and stability are already bearing fruit. Since February, we have distributed subsidized fertilizer to 6.45 million registered farmers in 45 counties, enabling them to increase their yields. And this year, we have procured and through e-vouchers distributed 7 million bags of both planting and top dressing fertilizer to boost food production across the country. This intervention will see a projected increase in maize production, for example, to a record 74 million 90-kilogram bags. We have also concluded long-term agreements with 11 suppliers of assorted fertilizers so as to make this commodity available all year round. Fertilizer for the long rains season will be stocked in outlets nationwide, ensuring our farmers are ready to plant, grow, and produce. This forward momentum will not only increase our agricultural output, but also reduce our reliance on costly food imports, securing a more self-reliant and a more prosperous Kenya. This approach, rooted in my administration's policy to support production rather than subsidize consumption, has already made food more accessible, more affordable to many households. Today, Kenya boasts substantial national stocks. 47 million bags of 90-kilogram bags of maize are in our stores. 8.8 million bags of beans, 10.4 million bags of wheat, and 2.1 million bags of rice. Slowly but surely, we are building a food-secure Kenya, where families need not to worry or worry less about their next meal. In the sugar sector, we have achieved a historic milestone. All 17 sugar factories across Kenya are now operational, producing at impressive levels, while 4 new sugar factories are under construction. In July alone, domestic sugar production reached 84,000 metric tons, surpassing the national monthly consumption average of 40,000 metric tons. For the first time in recent history, Kenya is producing enough sugar to meet our local demand. This success is attributed to many factors: subsidized fertilizer for sugarcane farmers, an additional 500,000 acres that has been brought under production, and improved management of the sugar sector, while which have revitalized production and brought the industry back to life. I just signed, as you know, the new sugar laws to provide further policy guidance as we seek to be a sugar exporting country shortly. In the coffee sector, we are on track to increase exports from 51,000 metric tons this year to 150,000 metric tons by 2027. The government has also raised disbursements from the Cherry Advance Fund from 2.7 billion to 6 billion Kenya shillings, complemented by an additional disbursement of 1.5 billion by the Commodities Fund. Average prices at the Nairobi Coffee Exchange have risen by 25%. And in the last financial year, the country produced and exported 48,000 metric tons, earning farmers Kenya shillings 25 billion. Additionally, 320,000 bags of fertilizer have been allocated specifically for the coffee sector, and we will be working with cooperatives to make sure this fertilizer is distributed at the nearest possible destination to the farmers. These interventions are expected to boost smallholder farmer earnings from Kenya shillings 300,000 to 500,000 per acre annually by the year 2027. The dairy sector remains a vital value chain with a quick turnaround impact on households in the economy. The government of Kenya has released and you members approved 3 billion shillings to modernize the new KCC, ensure farmers are paid on time, and maintain a high price of Kenya shillings 50 per litre. As a result, intake to KCC has increased from 100,000 litres a day to 220,000 litres a day by last month. Other strategic interventions include the extension of duty-free imports for feed manufacturing raw materials, subsidized artificial insemination services, and the reduction of sexed semen costs from 7,000 to 2,900 through the Kenya Animal Genetic Resource Center. These measures have led to a 14% increase in milk production from 4.6 billion litres in 2022 to 5.2 billion litres in 2023, with projections exceeding 6 billion litres this year. The value of exported dairy products has nearly doubled, rising from Kenya shillings 4.8 billion in 2022 to Kenya shillings 7.2 billion in 2023. These gains demonstrate how targeted policies can deliver tangible benefits to dairy farmers and drive growth in our economy. Honorable members, by 2022, the education sector was in a crisis with a lack of clarity in transition to the competence-based curriculum, a shortage of 110,000 teachers, and 23 out of 40 public universities were technically bankrupt and at risk of closure. Among those facing severe challenges were huge institutions, such as my own alma mater, University of Nairobi, Kenyatta University, Moi University, Egerton University, Maseno University, Masinde Muliro University. To address this issue in our education sector, we have already hired, as you know, members, 56,000 teachers and are in the process of recruiting another 20,000 by January next year. We have also ensured the seamless transition of learners from primary to junior secondary and domiciled grades 7, 8, and 9 in primary school, optimizing the use of existing infrastructure, ensuring the safety of young learners, and protecting parents from the high costs associated with boarding schools far away. Recognizing the financial challenges faced by our universities and TVETs, we introduced a new student-centered higher education funding model. This model gives priority to the most vulnerable students, offering them up to 95% government support, while also pulling our universities back from the brink of collapse. The remaining challenges for a few universities, like Moi University, are related to internal administrative and governance issues, which I have given firm instructions that they should be addressed. To further enhance access to higher education, we launched the Open University of Kenya, and this House approved that exercise, paving the way for more students to achieve their academic goals. The institution's first cohort of students is scheduled to graduate next week on the 29th of November 2024. Honorable members, universal health coverage is a cornerstone of our transformation agenda and a matter that touches every Kenyan family. Despite health being a devolved function, we acknowledge the immense financial burden that comes with health. Counties have struggled with shortages of medicine, equipment, sometimes staff, hindering service delivery and leaving countless Kenyans with suboptimal access to healthcare. It would have been easy for me to step back and leave this responsibility to counties alone. But that would have been a disservice to Kenyans and a betrayal to our Constitution. Instead of engaging in debates about healthcare being devolved, I have chosen the hardest but necessary path of addressing this challenge head-on. Health delivery is not just about fulfilling a constitutional mandate by whatever level of government. It is about ensuring that healthcare is not a privilege for the few who can afford and a pipe dream for the many who cannot. For years, NHIF was saddled with debts and inefficiencies, and healthcare was being severely and negatively impacted. For far too long, too many households have lived on the edge, just one illness away from financial catastrophe. Our healthcare system has historically neglected the poor and vulnerable, leaving them without any option, while private sector medical covers remained out of reach for the majority. This is precisely what we will correct through the provision of universal health coverage. This agenda is not just about a promise. It is about a bold commitment to deliver health through transformative financing reforms, making healthcare accessible and affordable, digitizing our healthcare services to enhance efficiency, eliminate fraud, and stop corruption, and to empower a skilled and motivated health workforce. To honor our commitment on the universal health coverage, I signed into law 4 groundbreaking legislation on the 19th of October, passed by this August House. The Social Health Insurance Act replaced the outdated National Hospital Insurance Fund and established the Social Health Authority, which oversees 3 essential funds. This modern framework ensures that every Kenyan, especially the most vulnerable, can access quality healthcare services when they need it most. The shift